Well, joined now by Mrs. Farida Waziri, who is the former chairman of the EFCC. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
Well, you certainly will have a lot of experience to share at the summit, having headed the EFCC. So, how do you intend to, okay, well, yes, you will be at the summit, but in terms of leadership and then having this summit, because there are lots of women who will be looking up to, listening to your experience and see how they can internalize it and then advance themselves in their careers. How timely do you think the summit is?
Well, I think it's quite timely because so many things are happening, especially about the Nigerian woman, globalization, the affirmative action, the Beijing Declaration, and all that. And to create awareness and to have a rallying point and to have fora that we could rub minds, because women issues are always evolving. I think I was very happy at what the Sun newspapers decided to do. I left everything else to come myself and spend time, because I'm very, very keen on women issue, especially the Nigerian woman. And there wasn't so much time because we have to discuss, but this is just the beginning, and the Sun says it's going to be annually, so we create time to do more workshops, to do a number of things, to mentor some young people, and so on and so forth.
An annual women's conference, that's interesting. But what are some of the issues you're hoping will be highlighted at the summit?
Okay, like I said, one of these is the mentorship, the challenges that women face in workplace, at home. You know, it's not easy to be a woman, to combine home and workplace. A woman who is raising children, who is married, who has a work, maybe a sensitive position to occupy, you will know how to, you know, wriggle your time between the two. And it's very, very difficult, except if you have a very understanding husband who wants to encourage you to rise. Some of it get so out of place, so difficult. Some will even tell you, you better choose between your work or the home. The home is suffering, you know. But then there are also some very understanding, you know, husbands also who feel that the woman should contribute to nation building, to the economy. And when you're just there to ask for everything, it's not funny. You know, the man gets really fed up. You ask.
How would you assess our performance? I mean, or what kind of advancements have we made in terms of where we are many years ago about how society accepts women in leadership role and compared to today?
Yes, definitely. It's a milestone. We've done extremely well. You know, the Beijing Declaration in 1995, where 285 countries signed. Nigeria also signed. And between 2011 to date, we have about 33%. And we have to appreciate this President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, for recognizing that the woman can contribute. You know, some don't want to believe that the woman should be seen and heard. They believe the woman should, you know, cannot do well, or maybe going to maternity leaves, maybe taking junior to school and hospitals. But then, the number that have come up now, we're almost there. We're almost there. And luckily, the women have not disappointed. You can find isolated cases here and there normally, naturally, just like in a man's world. But the Nigerian woman has done extremely well. Nigerian woman is so resourceful. She's hardworking. She's dedicated. She's patriotic. She, you know, from the little things, if you get to the plateau, is the woman selling, doing the potatoes, doing the cabbage, growing, and if you get down to like Benue, every morning you're saying the women are going to the farm. They have acres and acres.
A lot of people will say, now let's focus on those classes of women.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say we're asking for affirmative action. Oh, 30% of women in the cabinet are, you know, women and all of that. A lot of people wonder, what impact that has on a woman who is a farmer, who is selling potatoes. You know, how does that affect her life? We're asking for how does affirmative action affect the lives of women like that?
Yeah, normally I wouldn't have been telling women. I want women just sit there, fold their arms, and ask for their right. We want 35%. We want Beijing Declaration. I say it's not good enough. It's good for you to assert yourself in whatever you're doing. Do it extremely well, and you're encouraging other women. Women in the cabinet, women in the ministries will impact on the other woman because she's a woman and she sees what it means to be a woman. She will, you know, fight the cause of woman.
A lot of people will say that maybe that is not always true. Because if you ask women in leadership positions, you know, what exactly, sometimes who they find most difficult to work with, you find that it's a fellow woman. Why is that always the case?
Yes, I do agree that women are so strict. You know, when they mentioned my name that I was coming to the EFCC, the whole Nigeria went haywire. It was like I was competing to be president. From my antecedent in the police force, in the first CID, especially Special Fraud Unit, oh, they knew that I don't suffer fools gladly. They didn't want it to start with, for a woman to head that place. You know,
is that from fellow women or from men?
The men in particular, men really, really, you know, they have to, most of them, things are changing. But before that, most of them do not want to work for women or with women. I had a police officer in the first headquarters in Lagos. Each time I approached the gate, I saw his beret under his armpit. Each time they call attention, so I said, what's wrong? Then somebody whispered to me. He said he would never salute a woman. So childish. But then I stopped him. I said, put on your beret, come to big attention and salute, because that is what you're supposed to do. And you're saluting the crown, not Mrs. Waziri. You know, so these childish issues that have come a long way from traditions and cultures that believe women, these women should stay there, they should belong to the kitchen and the bedroom only. You know, things have changed.
You know, when we talk about this, I think you started a train of thought, Mark, where we're trying to stay on that about the women I love so much. Maybe you come to Delta, you see some women in the villages cycling, going to the farms. You go to the interior of Abakaliki, you see women in the rice farms. You go everywhere, you see them in the markets on top of trucks bringing this food produce. These are hard-working women. Yes. And we have always not celebrated them. Yes. And these women have children, and a girl child is in every community of that same kind of woman. Yeah. How can we encourage them, especially more women, to go into the high-paying jobs like science, technology, engineering, mathematics? How can we bring them on so that they don't take over from their mothers, cycling and being on the farm, getting rice for us to eat?
Yes. This is really the woman we're talking about. These women you're talking about now, they've come a long way. They are still doing what they're doing, food on the table. They work so hard. And Evelyn Oputu spoke, captains of industries, medium-scale loans, and all of this for this kind of women. Some of them have not gone to school, but some of them have been able to train their children to university level, to abroad. They are the small potato sellers. They are frying akara. They are doing this, and they're proud of what they're doing, and they do it extremely well. And you can see this taxi drivers, they're mechanics, they're coming on board just like any other developing nation. So these are the women that yesterday the Governor Doan, brought forth a woman. She started this potato plantain something, and then he encouraged her, gave her money. She did not go to buy gold and jewelry, gold and clothing and all that. She put the money to good use, and now she's exporting this plantain not only in Nigeria but abroad. These are the sort of women that we want to encourage. We will bring them all on board. We will, encourage them to speak out, and we will encourage them and tell them, like I do an NGO, I also have a law firm, and I tell them, if you want advice, you come, we give you free advice. You know, for instance, this like borrowing, and some of them talking about money. You know, you have to be credit worthy. These are things that, you know, and if you're going to borrow out money to anyone, let there be a written agreement. Don't just take your money and give somebody, and then next day it's gentleman's agreement and he says he doesn't know.
You know?
So these are the women that we need to encourage, because they have not let us down at all.